Hey, Tom.
Hey John, how are you?
Just grand. How about yourself?
Doing well. Hanging in there.
Right Medicare plan for you. Humana
Can
can
you
help.
reach the control?
With original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor.
I get those calls all the time too.
Hello, everyone. We will get started shortly and allow for folks to enter the
Joe, I have
meeting.
to start the Zoom. I'm looking forward to seeing you at this evening, and thanks for reaching out.
Well, please, we'll see you later. Always good to talk to you.
You too. Take care.
Bye, Steve.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Tina, just FYI, we can hear you. You didn't say anything. You just said goodbye,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry. I thought it was
that's
muted.
okay.
My
No,
apologies.
you're okay. So we'll get started soon.
You didn't say anything very inappropriate.
It's good.
Well, we certainly got bigger after not meeting for a year, I'll say that.
Absolutely. Yes, we did. More the merrier. We can start in a minute. I think we have a good number of our members on, so that's great. Okay, it's 5:05. We are going to convene this meeting for the BERGIN Commission. We'll start with just welcome remarks. So I myself am State Representative Miriam Khan. I'm one of the co-chairs for this commission. Welcome if you are a new member. We have had, we've been established pretty recently. And so we'll kind of have an opportunity to just for folks to introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll go over some of what our requirements are, both that were part of our initial requirements for the commission, and then some that were recently added as of last session, mostly around special education. So I just wanted to say welcome to everyone. I myself right now, obviously I'm a legislator. I'm also have been a special education teacher. And this past year, we had a special education select committee. I chaired the committee to pass the bill that we passed that we will come up time and time again in this commission, as there are several requirements that bill had put on our commission to complete. I'll stop there for now. Allow my co-chair, Senator McCrory, to say a few words and give some welcoming remarks, and we can move forward.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for coming on this committee. You guys know I'm Senator Douglas McCrory. I've been chairing the Education Committee for the past 7 years, a 33-year educator. And I just want to say congratulations to the new people who are coming on. And we're going to tackle some of the world's greatest issues in education, what we all love, money, special education service, and some of the other things. So I'm excited to work with you guys on this committee. I have a couple of things going on at the same time, but you have my ear for the most part. Like I said, I look forward to serving. And thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of this committee, which I always say education committee. And anything that's associated is the most important thing that we do in the state of Connecticut. I myself, like I said, 33-year educator, elementary, middle, and high school. And I'm looking forward to having these discussions and getting some good things done. Thank you.
Awesome. So, in terms of introduction, I know we have several members on, so I think the easiest way that we could do it, if I know Jazz is on, Jazira is our clerk for this commission, so I know she's on. I don't know if it's easier, Jazz, if you can maybe go in order of the names that we have, or I know you have the list and we can present that, and then maybe people can just kind of go in that order and introduce themselves.
Yeah, do you want me to just go off of like who I see in the Zoom order?
Yeah, you can do it that way too, whichever way.
Okay.
I think if you just say the name and then the person, so the other instruction I just want to give, so please just obviously introduce yourself by name, the organization that you are with, and I think that's pretty much it. We want to keep it short. Obviously we have quite a few members, but just give the organization you're with and your role there.
Okay, so I
Go
have
ahead, Jess.
Alex Knopp.
Yes, hi, my name is Alex Knopp, former state legislator from Norwalk for 15 years and taught at Yale Law School a course on education finance. Currently involved in the Chef case, and I'm very interested in our task to come up with a good funding mechanism for magnet schools.
I have Ajit.
Ajit Gopalakrishnan, Chief Performance Officer with the Connecticut State Department of Education.
A. Turner, which I imagine is Amy, I believe.
Hi, Amy Turner. I am the president of CONCASE, which is the Special Education Administrators Organization.
Fran Rabinowitz.
Hi, I'm Fran Rabinowitz. I'm the Executive Director for the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents.
Hamish.
Good evening, everyone. Hamish McPhail, Deputy Director for CONCAN.
Representative Leeper.
Hey everyone, sorry I'm off camera. I'm currently at an education conference, but I'm Jen Leeper, the House Chair for the Education Committee and a state representative representing Fairfield.
Next I have Katie Balestrasi.
Yes, thanks. Hi, Katie Balistraci. I am the Board of Education Chair for the Guilford Board of Education. I've been on the board for 14 years, been the chair for 6. I am here on the recommendation of CABE, the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education, who had the opportunity to recommend someone for this commission. And I was honored to be that person.
Lisa Hammersley.
Good afternoon, Lisa Hammersley. I'm the Executive Director of the School and State Finance Project. We are a statewide nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that works solely on education funding issues here in the state.
Liz Baumgartner.
Hi, good evening. My name is Liz Baumgartner. I'm here as a recommendation on behalf as a parent from River Street from CREC. I have a son with profound autism. I'm also the director of Wyndham Early Childhood Center, which is a Head Start and a UIC accredited center. And I'm also on the board for Isaac Charter School. Thank you.
Rep Wielander.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Wielander. I am a state representative for the 114th District, which is Orange, Derby, Woodbridge, and Hamden. I serve on the Education Committee. I was on the Special Ed Committee and am Vice Chair of the Children's Committee and Democratic Chair for the Regulation Review Committee.
Rep Rader.
Hi, everyone. Zooming in from Amtrak. I'm State Representative Moira Rader. I serve on the Education Committee and served on the Select Committee on Special Ed. I'm also the Vice Chair of the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee. I just finished 8 years on the Guilford Board of Education, and I see my good chair is here tonight, Katie Balistraci. The last 4 years was Vice Chair, and I'm also the parent of a previously special ed student. Thanks. I'm really glad to be here and be doing this good work.
Sarah Voca.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Voca. I am the Deputy Superintendent for the CREC Magnet Schools and the Regional School Choice Open Choice Program. I am also the RESC Alliance representative to the Commission.
John Flanders.
Hi, John Flanders. I am the president of Special Education Equity for Kids of Connecticut, an organization of parents, attorneys, and advocates working for systematic change to improve special education for our students. I'm also a recovering Board of Education member, a recovering selectman, and a recovering Board of Finance member. That's
Sean Sear.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Sear, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the Connecticut Association of Private Special Education Facilities, CAPSEF.
Sorry, I apologize. Just trying to find my list again. Cynthia Moyano.
Hello, everyone. Cynthia Moyano, Deputy Commissioner of Educational Supports and Wellness with the CSDE, but also I'm excited to be here tonight, come through the lens of a practitioner, spent 20 plus years in multiple public schools across Connecticut, from teacher all the way through building administrator and central office staff. So I come to this work through that lens, leading through the lens of equity. Nice to be here.
Representative Corpus.
I'm Tina Corpus. I represent the 149th District, which is Greenwich and Stamford. I was the ranking member on the Select Committee on Special Education and am a member of the Education Committee.
Tom Coster.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Tom Kosker. I'm an advocate with Disability Rights Connecticut, which is a protection and advocacy system here in Connecticut. I'm also the parent of a 17-year-old senior who has an IEP. Thank you.
And we just had Kate Diaz join us, if she wants to just introduce herself real quick.
Good evening. I'm Kate Diaz. I'm the president of the Connecticut Education Association and high school math teacher from Manchester. And I think that's probably the most exciting things about me. So good to see you all this evening.
And I think that is everyone. Again, my name is Jasaira Perez Acevedo, and I would be serving as the administrator for the BERGIN Commission. So any questions you may need, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jazz. Jazz's emails are probably like you would have received this invitation for this meeting from Jazz's email, but that's where you'll probably get most of the communication, especially for the commission. We also have Brittany Kane on. If Brittany, you want to just say hi. She works in speaker's office, just as supporting staff.
Hi, everyone. Rep Khan gave me a great introduction. That is exactly what I do. I am a senior policy analyst for the Speaker of the House, and I was assigned this past session to work with Rep Khan and Rep Corpus and many of the fabulous legislators here on this special education bill, House Bill 5001.
Thank you. So, for the next portion of our agenda, we're going to just review the two public acts that just go over basic stuff on what the requirements are under both public acts. So the first one, and I don't know, Jazz, if we can present it. If not, that's fine. I can still summarize. But the first one was what included like our first initial requirements for the commission. Last year when we did meet, we had broken into some subgroups to tackle some of those requirements, one of which most likely will no longer be necessary because I know one of the requirements for our commission was to explore if a special education weighted formula for funding would be needed. And the bill that we passed last year did establish that weighted funding. And so that portion of our study that I think I don't think there was a whole group for that specific part, but if there was, then we would reassign. The way that I think would be best for our commission to function is we will have subgroups where people will kind of just focus on one or two areas of the studies that are required upon our commission. And the way that I wanted to kind of break up some of that was basically based on the due dates that are required of this commission. We have some that are this upcoming spring due dates, and then we have some that are the spring of 2027, I believe, or December of 2026. And so initially, I think if we want to tackle some of the portions of the study that are due sooner, I think those groups can do that and then work on the other things after. But so the first public act, and I don't think we don't have a presentation of it, right? Because I can't see the full screen. Jazz, can we open it?
Yeah, I can
I
open
have it
it.
in front of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first one is this one, I believe.
Yep. So this kind of just breaks it into like different
Do you know which part you want to look at first?
the So does this have it all under one? How we had it in our bill? Do you know what I mean? Or does it have it broken up in different portions?
Rep Con, why don't you have Jazz pull up the 4 separate attachments from the email that were forwarded?
Yeah,
Okay.
is this one of those or no?
I think this is just the summary for the entire
Oh.
bill, which was crazy long. So we want to go to those 4 attachments.
Got it.
Let me just pull them up real quick and then.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start. I have those printouts in front of me, so I'll kind of start, but you can present them when you have them. So the first one, these requirements were put on the commission. This is what kind of established the commission a few years back, a couple years back. And overall, the commission was tasked to study education funding, accountability measures, financial reporting, for all types of schools. So magnet schools, charter schools, and well, I guess from traditional schools specifically, we have tasks for Alliance District schools, schools that fall under Alliance District. And then this new act that we just have, the bill that we just passed this year for the new act, that expands our responsibilities to include special education related topics that are varied, but overall, looking to see if we need new programs and services, peer reviews of special education programs to look at outcomes, tier 2 interventions, the CT SEDS IEP system, respite care access, and then effectiveness of delivery of services. And then there's this whole other portion of basically exploring a statewide workload analysis model, which basically is for special education staff. So I don't want to go over too much detail here, but whoever is in that subcommittee that's kind of tackling that, we have some of the committee did have some information that would be useful for folks that are looking into that. So at the completion of this meeting, what we'll do is we're going to send out a Google form for people to just indicate what topics they would like to kind of work more heavily on, so that myself and my co-chair, when we're assigning folks to subgroups, we will use that information and obviously try to match as best as possible. There'll be options in the Google form to select multiple topics, so that way, if your first choice is not available, you can definitely still serve for the second choice. So this one, I think if you scroll down, Jazz, yeah. So this one, it kind of gives the overall, like the first paragraph kind of talks about what was already tasked to the commission. The second one adds in some of what I just talked about, and a little bit more about basically what we, or actually this one actually goes over the first one more. I think it's on the second page. So if you look, this is more in detail about our first initial requirements regarding financial reporting by school boards. That are participating in open choice programs, magnet schools, and then charter schools, again, financial reporting. And then also, I know it's not on this page, but Alliance districts specifically as well. So that's among the first reporting that we have to do that is due this upcoming spring. So, and then the other requirements for this commission are all due in the subsequent, most of the stuff that we had put on for special education are mostly going to be due a little later in 2026, mostly like December 2026. So at the end of next fall is most of the special education requirements. Now, I think there may be some folks that would like to serve in both capacities in looking at financial, impacts of districts, especially outside of special education, so magnets, charters, and Alliance districts, and then also want to serve on special education. And I think that's absolutely fine, especially because Special education reporting is due towards the end of the year next year in December. So I think that would be very possible for folks to serve first on the committees that would, or the subcommittees that would serve to look at the first portions of our commission, the first deadlines, and then later transition into working on more special education related issues. So there will be, like I said, there'll be opportunity in the form to check off multiple interests. And if you do that, I may put you in two different subgroups so that you could do both if that's okay. I imagine that the special education workload for the subcommittees are going to be more heavy after the spring. At least that's what I'm going to ask. That way, if people serve on both, they can do, they can manage both. So each subgroup will kind of just dive deeper into a particular topic of that they are tasked with, and then create a report. So there will also be a person that is asked to lead each of these subgroups. You will be able to indicate interest in that same Google form. So please do. And again, like I said, when myself and my co-chair are kind of forming those subgroups, we will let you know if you are asked to kind of lead each subgroup. Obviously, myself, my co-chair, and Desire are available to you as supports, and we'll kind of help you get started. I'll probably be at a lot of the subgroup meetings, but I don't have to be at everything unless if I'm needed. But you will be able to kind of take the lead as a subgroup to tackle specific issues that we have tasked that subgroup with. So I think we don't need to present this anymore unless if someone has a very specific question on the public act or any of our requirements. I do see two hands up, so I'll let people ask a question before we move forward. I don't know if John, you had your hand up first.
I did. I'm happy to defer to Representative Corpus.
Okay. Rep Corpus.
Oh, okay. Thank you, John. I just had a question. If I remember correctly, there were 20 people on the original Bergen Commission and then 20 more added in this bill in 2025.
Yes.
So are we, and I know that the commission had begun but had not gotten that far in its work prior to this moment in time. So are we now, is our charge now collapsing the entire requirements of both bills and populating all of those subgroups and all of those tasks among the 40 of us, or is it at all, bifurcated? The 20 original are working on the old stuff and the 20 new are working on the new stuff. That's question number one. And question number two is how many of the 40 are already appointed? What does our working group consist of today?
Yes. Thank you for asking those. And I apologize that I didn't get to mention the membership. So we have 40 appointed. We are supposed to have 40 appointed total members. We have had 28 appointments as of this morning. So we have 12 vacancies. Out of those 12 vacancies, I think a few of those are going to, they're in progress. So we should have a few more of those appointed any day this week. But we have 28 currently appointed. I think one of the attachments that Jazira did send out has the appointments on there and the vacancies as well. So you should be able to see that in the email that was sent earlier. But as of this morning, it was 28 appointed. So that was the answer to your first question. The second question, in terms of the structure, this is where I was trying to get to. So this is thank you, Jazz, for presenting. So these are the current appointees. So anywhere you see a blank is where we still have a vacancy. So there are a few vacancies. I think a couple of those are parents. And then there are some that are other. So we're just waiting on the appointing body that is going to make those appointments. But everyone should be able to have that in their email, so you should be able to see it. But like I said, I know some of those are in the works now, and so we should have more members by the end of this week, hopefully. So, and I will send them the same form to make sure that they can indicate interest based on and they'll have a recording of this meeting as well. So, to answer your second question in terms of what kind of structurally we would do based on the requirements. So when the commission was formed, it had 20 original members. While we added 20 more in this last piece of legislation, and we added different requirements, the members that originally served can still serve, and I think would be very useful in helping us with the new requirements of the commission that are related to special education. And so I do have the subgroups that we had last time. And folks that have served on those subgroups, if people do not remember, I can present that information. So that's kind of, okay, perfect. So we had these two that would still stay. The later one, the one on the bottom, we're not going to keep probably. But if you go, you can scroll up, Jazz. So these top two groups were addressing some of the requirements again from the first initial public act that we had. And so I would ask for these members to continue to serve here, but they can still express interest in the other topics that we've now been tasked with. Also, so the last one, as you can see, it says the inclusion of special education as a need factor in the ECS formula. That's the one that technically we don't need to provide that report, only because we already have included that. If that anyone in that subgroup feels like they still want to take a look more into that, that's fine. We can figure out another place for that, but I don't want to dedicate members to solely doing that, especially when we've already established. I think those members would just be reassigned to other subgroups. But also those earlier subgroups, if you look, the ones that are presented, there were some initial requirements for this commission that are not yet that were not yet covered in those subgroups because those deadlines were in 2026. So we'd still have to establish a subgroup to do that anyway. So the top two subgroups, some version of those I would keep. We may add some additional responsibilities to these based on what we have. I would see us having maybe 4 to 5 subgroups total.
In the initial bill, in the initial
In
charge.
in total, I think.
In total.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
4 to 5 in total. So does that mean, should we, when we get the list of subgroups to indicate our interest, should we assume that we're going to be serving on more than one, or?
I think you can express interest on multiple, and then I'll try to see if there's a way to make a note if you want to serve on multiple. That way, if some people do, that's fine. Only because the deadlines, and it'll say it, the deadlines for each group are different. So some of these subgroups will have deadlines for spring of this upcoming 2026 year, and some will have them for December of 2026. So if you serve on one that has a spring deadline and then you have another subgroup that you'd like to still assist with for later, that's fine. But because most of the special education stuff is due in December.
Thank you.
Most of the initial stuff is due earlier.
Thank you.
Okay. John, do you still have a question?
Yeah, I do. A lot of this stuff looks like it has some pretty heavy lifting for research and accumulating facts. Is the commission and or the subcommittees going to have staff support to do some of this stuff?
So we do have support, like we have Jazira, who is the administrator for this commission. So if there's like information requests that subgroup has, you can go through Jazira. That will probably be quickest. However, obviously we do have several folks here that may also have their own access to some information. So if someone in your subgroup does not have access, then absolutely we can assist with that, as like Jazira or myself can assist with that. And I know we have members of State Department of Education and OPM that serve on this commission. So like I said, if it's something that we need from either agency, but you don't have members in your subgroup, we can assist with that. Like Jazira can assist with that. Is there any other question anyone has about requirements? Okay. Jazz, can we present the agenda again? Wonderful. So, schedules. So I kind of went over deadlines, but I think what I would envision is that the full commission would still meet at least every other month, just to make sure that we're kind of on track, especially as the deadlines are coming up. So we would meet most likely in January, again after today. But prior to that, subcommittees would have started meeting, some of them, maybe not all, especially if they have a later deadline. I'll kind of figure that out, but we'll make sure that that's communicated. But the schedules for subcommittees can be determined based on especially like what your deadlines are. So if you're in a subcommittee that has an earlier deadline, you may meet more frequently. And if you're in a subcommittee that has a later deadline, you may meet, a little less frequently in the initial. So that will be determined kind of by whomever are leading those subcommittees. But you can expect at least monthly, I would say, for subcommittee meetings. And then outside of that, like the only emails that you'll get from us is mostly information sharing. So if you request information, absolutely you can expect that from us. Outside of that, just informational for our future meetings. So you don't have to we're not going to be sending out like myself and for the whole commission. Now within your subcommittee, there may be an opportunity to do like an email thread to share information in between meetings. So that may happen, just time commitment wise, because I know obviously most of us here have other roles that we play. So that's kind of what schedules are expected to look like. You will know more, obviously, as you decide to serve and know which subcommittees you'd serve on. And then next topic for our topics for our next agenda would be primarily looking at where especially those subcommittees are that have those initial deadlines. And then we would do kind of just a consensus to make sure that the general membership is in agreement with that report before we are to put any reports out. Because I think when we meet in January, and let's say we meet again in March, I think there's a couple reports that are due between those two. So when we meet in January, I would ask that those subcommittees that are crafting those reports would have something to present to us so then we can make sure that we have consensus. And if we need to meet before we put out any other reports, if people don't feel comfortable in January that we don't have enough information, we can do that as well. That's fine. So that's kind of just to be expected for agenda topics for our next meeting. And information about where you would serve on subcommittees would be sent out via email. My goal is to try to get that done by the end of this week. But again, it depends if everybody does the Google form on time. So we will try to get that Google form out to you by tomorrow. And then if people send them back, well, actually probably people will send them back. I can make it till Friday. And then by next week early, I would start to assign folks. And so next week you can expect to hear about which subcommittees you would be serving on. And then, like I said, after that, depending on who is kind of taking the lead in each subcommittee, you'll know and you'll receive information on your next meetings from there. Are there any other questions? If anybody has any other questions about how we are to conduct our business, Sean.
Yes, hi. I was just curious on the Google form, will there be an opportunity to explain why we may have a particular interest in a subcommittee?
I can make that so. Yeah, absolutely. It might be helpful, like for me as well as like we're looking at, because obviously I don't know everybody. That it can say, like a notes kind of just an open notes question, and then you can put anything else in there that, this is what I can offer. So that would be helpful as we're deciding members.
Perfect. That would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else? Anybody else have a question? Okay. We don't have the announcement of next meeting, but like I said, you can expect it for January, but you should expect sooner meetings for your own subcommittees. And before we adjourn, I did want to say thank you for agreeing to serve on this commission. Commission work is very important. It guides a lot of our legislative work as we go into session, because a lot of this exploratory slash, information gathering, we're not always able to do just during session. So a lot of this work will hopefully impact future policy. And we have a good number of my colleagues here. They're all very dedicated to this, as you can see. So we're very excited to also be here to lend support, but excited to have you all that are in so many of these spaces that are going to be helpful to make these great reports for future decision making for our state. So I do thank you for agreeing to serve and agreeing to serve obviously as a volunteer and volunteering your time to assist with this this work, because it's very important work. So thank you all for that. If there are no other questions, I think we can adjourn the meeting. I don't need to have a formal motion to adjourn, so I will just say that yes.
I just want to say, also, I want to thank you guys for taking time out your busy schedules to be a part of this meeting. And like my colleague said, a lot of the stuff that we do in these subcommittees and within these meetings do lead us when we make policy during the legislative session. And I also want to make myself available for any subcommittee meetings that anyone will want me to be a part of. And thank you for Representative Khan for taking the lead on this conversation. And I look forward to working with everyone in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. And again, if you have any questions, email myself or Josiah or Senator McCrory. Thank you.